Hey everybody, it's Maggie with Lead and Love Canine, and today I'm going to make you guys a little demo video of how to teach the place command. The place command is one of the most valuable things that you can teach your dog for so many reasons. It's definitely a great household management exercise. You can have your dog on place when you're doing housework, unloading groceries, bringing them into the house. You don't need your dog running out the door. And it's also a really wonderful mental exercise for them because they have to use a lot of focus to stay on place. And I've noticed that, without failure, when I'm dealing with nervous, anxious, stressed out dogs, having them spend a little time on place does wonders for creating a much more positive state of mind. So I'm going to walk you guys through all of the phases of place, how to teach it, and then how to start adding the 3Ds, which are distance, distraction, and duration. And I'll explain that as we go. So let's have a look. So here I am walking Rusty to the front edge of the mat. I say the word place, I walk him onto the mat, and then say let's go as I release him to walk off the mat. So you just want to practice this quite a few times, lots of repetitions until you see that your dog is starting to understand that the word place means to get on the mat and stay on the mat. And in the beginning, the dog's not going to really understand, so you're going to have to use a little bit of light leash pressure back to keep him on the mat. Pause. I say place. Walk him on. And the minute he's on the mat, I say good as his marker. So right here, I'm starting to add the next level of place, which is to walk in a circle around your dog. Notice my right hand, the way I have it positioned underneath the leash. This is so that if Rusty were to come off the mat, I would very quickly and easily be able to use a little leash pressure to get him back on the mat. This is a little correction. And right here, you could see he came off the mat when he wasn't supposed to, so I just used a little light leash pressure to guide him back on. Let's go. Pause. Place. Light leash pressure back to keep him there. And now I'm going for a little bit of distance. You can see he got a little bit distracted and started to move forward, so I just gently placed him back on the mat. The distance I'm adding here is going out to the very end of the 6-foot leash. Not too far, and still keeping the leash in my hand so that if I have to correct him, I can do so quickly. It looks like he's getting it pretty good. The pause too is really important in the beginning because you want the dog to know that there's a change getting ready to happen, that you're going to ask him to do something different from just walking forward. So I find that little pause at the front edge of the mat, right there, say place, keep him on, put him back if he gets off, and then practice going out to the end of the leash. Let's go when I take him off. Little pause, place. And there it looks like he's really starting to understand that even though I'm continuing to move forward, he has to stay. So I'm dropping the leash now and picking it back up. Sometimes dogs think that when you drop the leash, that's an invitation to move off of the place. So this is just another really good challenge that you can give your dog. I don't move too far away from him in the beginning because if he was to move off the mat, I would want to pick up the leash quickly and put him back on. And now I'm starting to be able to walk away after I've dropped the leash. It's another important phase of taking the place command to the next level, making it more of a challenge for the dog. Let's go. And now that I know that Rusty understands that the word place means to get on his mat and stay on his mat, I'm actually going to take it a step further and leave the room and quickly walk back in. So this is another level of adding distance where you can actually walk away, walk out of the room, and your dog stays on his place mat or bed or towel or whatever you'd like to use. Now in this phase, I'm going to start adding some distractions, and I'm going to put Rusty on the placemat, drop the leash, walk away, come back, pick the leash up, and I want to hold on to the leash here because I'm going to drop some food on the floor, and this is really going to challenge him because, you know, dogs love food, and he's going to be really tempted to go after the food I'm dropping. As you can see right there, I gave him a little correction just with a little light leash pressure when he tried to go for the food. But I think he's doing a pretty good job. Let's go. Now I'm letting him get the food as a reward for doing a great job staying on place, even though I was dropping the food pretty much right in front of his face. Right here I say place. Little correction there. Dropping the food. He does a great job. He knows that he has to wait to be released to get to the food as a reward. So right here, something even more challenging for Rusty is the squeaky toy. He's a pretty high prey drive guy, and so when he hears the squeaky toy, it really challenges him, and I had to work with him a little bit on this. Just wanted to also let you guys know that if at any time you're finding that you're having to correct your dog really often, you may want to back up and, you know, go for some of the easier levels of the place command. Go slow, you know, don't expect too much too quickly. Getting to these high levels of distraction, whether it's a squeaky toy or jingling the car keys or knocking on the door, is a pretty big step for a dog. So just remember, it's always okay to start back at square one if you feel like you and your dog are struggling. Really challenging for Rusty. Right here you can see I corrected him with a quick no, and I moved into his space, spatial pressure, using my body to move him back. Okay, so there you have the foundation for teaching your dog the place command. So the next and final phase of the place command is to start adding duration. This means that you're going to have your dog on place and have him hang out there for a while. I sometimes have my dogs on place for an hour or more. I find that it really helps sort of reboot them mentally if they're struggling with any kind of nervousness or anxiety. And I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see Rusty. You can see him right there. He's on place. And I'm over here on the couch, just hanging out. Mr. Jinx hanging out with me. So, you know, it's okay for dogs to just be able to relax on their own. They don't have to always be right next to you or, you know, pacing around the house nervously, you know, worrying about every little thing. So there you have it. I hope that this video has been helpful. Please feel free to email me with any questions you might have about the place command at leadandlovecanine@gmail.com.